Hello everyone, I am Alex, and this video is going to be a preview of the NBA's restart in Orlando. I figured it would be fitting to start looking in depth at the teams who qualified for the restart, given we are just 10 days away from the NBA's return. Now, before we start analyzing the specific teams who have qualified for the restart in Orlando, let's talk about how the NBA is safely bringing back the game of basketball during this global pandemic. So for those of you who don't know how the NBA is doing this, on July 30th, the NBA will restart at the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex inside Disney World. The NBA has created what they are calling the bubble. The bubble works by having NBA teams stay at 3 specific resorts across Disney World. These hotels are what Disney calls their deluxe resorts, which are the nicest in all of Disney World. The players have been tested for the coronavirus and have been quarantining since the beginning of July. No player, coach, trainer, or staff who test positive for COVID will be permitted to enter the NBA facilities until they test negative. Even though Walt Disney World had plans of reopening attractions, no fans will be allowed to attend these games in order to try and prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Now let's begin talking about how the NBA season will actually look. The NBA season went on a hiatus on March 11th after Rudy Gobert was the first player to test positive for COVID. At the time of the stoppage, the NBA had 19 regular season games remaining. The NBA thought it would be fitting to give teams who were still realistically in the playoff picture a chance to get in. What the NBA has done is essentially create seeding games. These games will begin on July 30th and end on August 14th. It'll be about 8 games for each team, and by the time that these games are over, we will have our finalized playoff seeding. The playoffs will begin on August 17th, and Game 7 of the NBA Finals, if it was necessary, would take place no later than October 13th. So let's talk about how the NBA is giving teams who are close to the playoff picture a chance to compete to make the playoffs. 22 teams have been invited to Orlando for the restart. The 16 teams that would currently qualify for the playoffs, plus 6 teams that are 8 games or fewer from the 8th and final playoff seed in their respective conferences. I thought it would be easier, instead of naming all the playoff teams, to just name the teams that did not qualify for the playoffs. These teams are the Atlanta Hawks, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Golden State Warriors, the New York Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Chicago Bulls, and the Detroit Pistons. So besides the top teams, especially in the Western Conference like the Lakers and Clippers vying for that number 1 seed, down at the lower end of the bracket, there's actually a potential for a play-in tournament to determine who will get the 8th seed. I'm now going to read you an explanation from NBA.com on how a potential play-in tournament could go down, and I quote, "If the team with the 8th best record in its conference is more than 4 games ahead of the team with the 9th best record in the same conference, no play-in tournament would be necessary. The final playoff berth would simply go to the team with the 8th best record regular season games plus seeding games in that respective conference." The site continues, "If the team with the 8th best record in its conference is 4 games or fewer ahead of the team with the 9th best record in the same conference, then we'll have a battle for the final spot between those 2 teams. The tournament would basically be a best of 2 series where the number 9 seed would have to win 2 head-to-head matchups to take over the number 8 spot." So all of the confusing logistics put to the side, basically what this boils down to is the NBA wanting to give teams who were close to the playoff picture if the 19 or 20 game regular season would have finished a chance to compete for the last playoff spot in an 8-game reduced regular season. If live NBA basketball returning wasn't enough intrigue, this end of the regular season will provide us with ample storyline potential as several teams race to fill the last remaining playoff spots. Let's talk about some big factors affecting teams' potential championship aspirations. The biggest one here is no fans, which means no home court advantage. As many of you know, home court advantage is a big thing in the NBA. The difference between playing on the road in a playoff game and playing at home makes all the difference in the world. Fans are crazy, they pack the arenas, and it's just hard to win on the road, especially in the playoffs. This is a big factor as no one will have any home court advantages, there will be no fans in the crowd. Another major factor, 5 months off with only a few weeks of team practices. If any of you have ever played sports, it's hard to stop playing your sport for 5 months and then come back ready in game shape. There's a lot to do with fatigue, injuries, and these guys are professional athletes. We can assume that some of them were taking care of their bodies during the off season, but with everything going on, it's not so safe to assume that everybody was and that everybody's in the best shape of their life. So this is another big factor. And another huge factor, several teams are missing players who decided not to participate in the return. Avery Bradley of the Los Angeles Lakers decided he was not going to participate because of his son's respiratory problems due to fear of the coronavirus. This is a completely respectable decision. I do not blame any player who decided not to come back for this. It is 100% their decision. Some other players who decided not to play, DeAndre Jordan of the Nets, Kyrie and Kevin Durant decided they obviously weren't going to play, and also Victor Oladipo of the Indiana Pacers decided he was not going to play as well. So we'll have to see how some of these teams do with team chemistry. The Lakers brought in J.R. Smith to try and fill Avery Bradley. We'll just have to see how this goes. It is definitely a major X factor. All right, with all that now out of the way, I'm going to talk about the 5 teams who have the best odds to win the NBA championship according to MyBookie. The Los Angeles Lakers have a plus 175 chance. The Milwaukee Bucks are plus 280. The Los Angeles Clippers are plus 300. The Boston Celtics are plus 1300. And the Toronto Raptors are plus 1600. Alright guys, now that we've kind of talked about the entryway into the NBA, now I'm going to go through here and give you my actual predictions for teams who I think have the best chance to win the playoffs. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do the legit title contenders first, and then I will go in order for the rest of the way. So for my legit title contenders, the first one I'm going to list here, the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James and the Lakers, they did not make the playoffs last season. But until King James proves to me that he is going to be irrelevant in the playoffs, they have to be a legit title contender. Before last season, 8 straight finals appearances. You throw in Anthony Davis and a good Lakers squad. You can say what you want about some of the departures or players that didn't make it with them, team chemistry, they're an older team. Until King James proves to me that he is not the best player in the world, Los Angeles Lakers are a legit title contender. Just as quickly as I put LA in there, I got to put Milwaukee in there. One of the best defensive teams in the league. Giannis is well on his way to getting a second straight MVP award. They're great defensively. They have a lot of good pieces. They have depth. I like a lot of their players on their team. I like their coach. We'll just have to see what they do. And in the East, let's face it, the East is an easier conference than the West right now. I mean, they're going to make it to the finals, I think, with little resistance. So, the last title contender team I'm going to put in here is the LA Clippers. I think they're the team out of the West that has the second best chance behind the Lakers to win the championship. Of course, they have Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. They have a lot of depth. Basically, every player who's back from last season, they're well coached by Doc Rivers. This is a team that's made deep playoff runs. You know, Kawhi Leonard has a lot of championship experience. They have players who went toe-to-toe with the Warriors last year. I think the Clippers are there. All right, so now we're going to go in order here. I'm looking at Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is in the title picture. When you have Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Tobias Harris, and you have depth, Ben Simmons, it was announced that he's going to be playing power forward, so we're going to have to see how that goes. I think Brett Brown's a good coach, not great, but when you have that much talent and you're in the East, I think that you're in the title picture, and that's Philadelphia. Washington Wizards, no chance. Not going to have John Wall. Even if Bradley Beal does play, they have no chance. It's hopeless for them. If they make the playoffs, they'll be swept. It won't be good for them. Indiana, no chance. No Victor Oladipo. This team is just not going to have any chance. They're not going to have enough firepower. I like some of their players, and this is an Indiana team who last year was eliminated by Boston in the playoffs. The year before that, they were eliminated by LeBron in the playoffs, so they've had trouble getting out of the first round. I like them. I think they're a good team, but I don't think they have any chance in this current situation. The Toronto Raptors, the defending champions, I'm going to put them in the title picture out of respect for them winning the championship last year. I think they're well coached. I like Nick Nurse as a coach. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green are no longer on the team, but they still have Pascal Siakam, Marc Gasol, Kyle Lowry. They're still very good. They have a lot of depth, and they're a well-coached team. So I think they're in the title picture. The Mavericks, with Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis, I think that they're a wild card potential surprise. They're one of those teams that if they get hot enough, if Luka's going off, I think that they could potentially make a run. And that's the thing you have to factor in. They're not going to have to go on the road. All these games are going to be on a neutral floor. It's just guys hooping. So you get out there. Do you got more guys that can hoop than the other team? I think that they could potentially make some noise. And I'm saying they're going to be a wild card potential surprise. I think they feel slighted that they don't get to get in the playoffs like right away because their record is so much better than the teams that are below them. I think they're 40-27. This is a team that is going to have a chip on their shoulder going into this. The Denver Nuggets, I'll give them little chance out of respect. They're one of those weird young teams, the Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic. I think that they're very well coached, but I'm going to give them not no chance because we did see them make kind of a playoff run last year, and I think they're good, but I'm going to give them little chance. The Memphis Grizzlies, I like John Morant. I think they got a bunch of good young players, but I think that just making the playoffs for them is an accomplishment, and that's about as good as they're going to get this year. No chance. For San Antonio, I'm going to put them in the little chance category out of respect for Greg Popovich. I don't think that they have much better of a chance than the teams below them, but again, I'm giving respect to their coaching. Greg Popovich is one of the greatest coaches ever, and he knows how to motivate his guys. They still have DeMar DeRozan, so I think there's a chance, but it's a little chance. The Utah Jazz, I'm going to put them right in there with the little chance too. I mean, I like Mike Conley. I like Donovan Mitchell. Is there going to be some tensions from the Rudy Gobert stuff and giving the coronavirus to Donovan Mitchell? And is there going to be, how's the team chemistry going to be? Because at the time of that happening in March, Woj was quoted as saying that it's a good thing they don't have to put a team on the floor right now because it would be really bad. So have those wounds healed? We'll see. I'm going to give them little chance because I do think they have some firepower. Another thing to factor in, though, they're not going to have home court advantage. Utah's a tough place to play. It always has been. You know, the crowd's always crazy. It's something to do with the elevation and all this stuff, or it's just a wild time. So we'll just have to see what happens there. Phoenix Suns, no chance. I like Devin Booker. He's a Kentucky Wildcat. I liked him. I think he's a good player. DeAndre Ayton, I like him too. No chance. I mean, if they made the playoffs, it would look really good for Devin Booker, but I mean, do we really think that they're going to have any chance if they go up against a team like LA? No way. Now, Portland's an interesting team because I think that they are a lot better than their record shows. I'm going to say there could be a wild card / potential surprise. They have Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Carmelo Anthony, Nurkic. They have some good players. They have good pieces. They're well coached. I think if the timing got right and it got hot, they could maybe do some damage. I mean, Charles Barkley was talking about how he thinks they're going to beat the Lakers in the first round. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think they're a team that could be a potential surprise. They could do some stuff. The Sacramento Kings, I love De'Aaron Fox, but no chance. They're right in there with Phoenix and all these other teams. The New Orleans Pelicans, I want to say little chance, but I'm going to say wild card potential surprise because I think they do have a lot of talent. I really like how Brandon Ingram has progressed, and I love Zion Williamson. I think he's a great player. I don't want to give them little chance. I don't really think they have a chance to do much in the playoffs, but wild card potential surprise could be an interesting team. We'll just have to see what happens. The Houston Rockets, I'm going to put them in the title picture. You can say what you want about team chemistry, and of course, Russell Westbrook has not been with the team because, he had the coronavirus. I'm going to put them in the title picture because when you have Russell Westbrook and James Harden, you're in the title picture. 2 top 10 players in the NBA, you got to put them in there. The Miami Heat, I'll say little chance. I like them. They're well coached. I like Eric Spoelstra. I like Tyler Hero a lot. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. They're a good team. They're young. They work well together. But at the end of the day, I just don't see it happening. I mean, I'm going to give them little chance. So just out of respect for some of the players on their team I do like. Brooklyn, no chance. With Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant not playing and now DeAndre Jordan saying he's not going to play, there's no chance. If the Nets do make the playoffs, which we'll see what happens, I think they would be swept in the first round. There's no way. Oklahoma City, I would say they're a little chance. I like them, but I just don't really think they have necessarily the firepower. I mean, props to Chris Paul for carrying the team this year and getting a lot more out of it than probably a lot of people thought that he would have. He has had a great season, but I don't see it happening. I mean, as much as I'd like to see OKC make a run, I just think that they're in that little chance category. Boston Celtics, I'm going to put them in the title picture. Look, here's the thing. Kemba Walker, great, like him. Gordon Hayward, back, looking good. Jaylen Brown, good. Jason Tatum's a superstar. Before this season ended, Jason Tatum was going off, and I think that he's a guy who could carry them and put them into this echelon of teams. Not quite a legit title contender, but they're definitely in the title picture. I mean, if Boston somehow ended up in the NBA Finals, I don't think everybody would be as surprised as if somebody like the Miami Heat ended up there. I mean, that's the kind of superstar that Jason Tatum is. And rounding this out, the Orlando Magic, even though this is taking place in Orlando, no home court advantage, I don't think the Magic have any chance. I'm going to put them in the no chance category. And with that concludes my NBA preview / prediction video. As always, thank you all so much for listening. If you want to find out where more content from us is going to be, you can follow us on Instagram at CanesLane1970. Or subscribe to us on YouTube. If you like what you hear, refer us to a friend. We appreciate all the publicity that you guys give us. I've been just working on videos, just trying to put out the best content that I possibly can. Thank you all again so much for listening, and stay tuned for some more videos.